Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I've got my co-host, James.
How you doing?
And in today's episode we are talking about Volume 5 of Kaguya-sama Love is War. A fantastic volume.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't stress that enough. This is, out of the 5 volumes so far that we've, gotten through,
hmm
this is the best one, hands down for me.
I think I'm there with you. I will say that I obviously saw this first in the anime,
Right.
and this or at least the chapters that are in here are not only what made me kind of fall in love with this story that they were telling, but also
Mm.
made me fall in love with Kaguya and why I remember why she became my favorite character. I think before that I was going back and forth between Ishigami and Chika about who my favorite character was, and Kaguya was
Yeah.
there. But after this chapter and all the stuff that happens and the information you get,
Uh-huh.
I think Kaguya just became my favorite.
Yeah. And I actually have a confession to make as well on that topic.
Oh.
Is that definitely my first time reading through these volumes. As I've said before, by volume 3, my favorite character was Hayasaka, and
hmm
she remained my favorite character for quite a couple of volumes after that. Definitely into the future beyond volume 5. But anyway, now upon rereading these and really only basing my opinion off of these 5 volumes that we have read, I also think that Kaguya is my favorite character up to this point in the story.
Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, didn't feel that way my first time reading, but
hmm
this time definitely.
I'm
Like,
I'm right there with you. Well,
oh
at
goodness,
least, yeah, I agree with you. That
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, amazing chapter story volume. Let's start talking about Kaguya because I feel like there's a lot to say right there.
Indeed.
Right off the bat, we kind of learn that both she and Miyuki, half a month has passed of the summer vacation and nothing has happened. Uh,
Uh,
but I guess we shouldn't be surprised. We're talking about
no,
these two
not
dorks.
really. It's to be expected.
It really is.
I what I like about from her standpoint on this, she I guess it's obvious since we've kind of been through these past 4 volumes now, but in her schedule she had planned to be with Miyuki. Like she said, Miyuki would decide, or Miyuki, Miyuki's gonna take me
Mm,
somewhere or something like that.
yeah.
I forget exactly what she said, but it was something along those lines. So basically, her whole entire plans was based on Miyuki taking um,
Like the initiative.
the initiative. That's the word, taking the
Hmm.
initiative.
Yeah.
So I thought that was so funny. And
Yeah.
despite that, despite her writing that in her plans, her schedule, she still denies. Like I would actually want to do that. Like
Right.
like I actually want to
Yeah.
hang out. It's like
Even when she's talking with Ai, she's
right.
like she's denying that she likes Miyuki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that was kind of, I was like, really, come on.
Right.
But I guess that's again her pride getting in the way there, despite it being obvious.
Yeah, and what I thought was kind of interesting with the first like 3 or so chapters of this volume, 3 or 4 chapters, um, Miyuki and Kaguya don't see each other, like for
Mm.
like the first 3 or 4 chapters of the volume. Which I guess is not a whole lot of chapters in the grand scheme of things, but it does feel like when you're reading it, it does feel like something's missing.
Yeah.
Just because you don't have these two characters together, and it's
hmm
just it feels wrong.
Well, I agree. Couple things about that. One, it kind of subverts your expectations, especially that first chapter where they both go to the student council room.
Yeah.
And normally in these rom com love story things, a meeting like that would end up they catch each other at the very last moment, and oh, I'm
Right.
glad to see you, or something like that. But
Uh
not
huh.
not here. Like Akasaka kind of takes a different direction where they don't meet each other and their summer continues on being unproductive.
Yeah.
And to me, along with the next couple chapters, it just kind of subverted my expectations. I mean, I guess when it was when I watched the anime, but but
Mhm.
still, it's not typical for a rom com. I feel like, at least in my opinion. And then
Yeah.
secondly, there was a moment. I think it was part 2 of Shinomiya can't hear the fireworks. not she, yeah, Kaguya can't hear the fireworks. It
Right.
it, it was something that I Hayasaka said where the longer two people are apart, the heart grows fonder or something along
Yeah.
those lines.
Hmm.
And the reason I bring that up is just because you mentioned how we don't see Miyuki and Kaguya meet until that chapter. So it's for the reader, it's kind of this desire to see them meet again and to have that connection back. So it makes it all the sweeter when they finally reunite and have that moment to each other. And
Uh-huh.
so it was kind of that build up through the whole thing that I mean it was definitely planned, and maybe that's why Hayasaka kind of well Akasaka brought that up through Hayasaka is maybe remind the reader of that kind of
Oh yeah.
feeling that moment when they finally reunite. But anyway,
Exactly. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We do get to learn about Kaguya that she's very unknowledgeable when it comes to technological devices and various things like that in this volume. However, she does type very fast, so I
I noted
guess
the same thing. I
so.
well, she's got to
maybe
write reports and stuff, right? So
maybe does she use like I mean I guess it's possible that she does write stuff on a computer, but
hmm
maybe
just doesn't know
you
much
know
about the internet.
right. I guess that's possible, or she uses a typewriter. I don't know. No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
I'm
no.
not familiar with the Japanese typewriter. I don't know if it's similar to
Yeah,
the
I have
keyboard.
no.
I don't think
Oh, that's
so, but
true. I have no idea how that would work actually. Ooh.
anyway.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I'm gonna want to
hmm
look that up afterward
Yeah. Ooh,
probably. That
yeah.
sounds really interesting. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, like then we get into some pretty heavy stuff on Kaguya's side of things.
hmm
Um, we learn that she's missed out on a lot of things in
Oh,
life. You
sorry.
know.
I
Hmm?
before you go there, I there was one
Ah,
thing I really it's very important we comment before we get into that.
all right.
Kage with long hair is really cute, or maybe kind of cute. Like I think letting her hair down is a really good look for her. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I will say I prefer it when she puts her hair up,
oh
like
really?
she
Okay,
does
that's
these
fair.
days.
I think she looks cute either way, but I don't. I really like the hair let down, especially in that scene in that chapter with her and Hayasaka. She's trying to bathe. That sounds weird, but she's trying. But she
Right.
is. She's
No,
trying to take a bath.
yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Um, and just I don't know. Kaguya's naivety and innocence during that whole chapter was just really cute, and I just thought her hairstyle matched that. A really weird
Absolutely.
comment, and I'm probably a creep like Ishigami, but hey, that's just how it is.
You should be
I've
happy
accepted.
Chika isn't here to whack
Yeah,
you.
yeah, or tell me that's kimoi or creepy.
Right. But yeah, no, it's definitely nice. It's always nice to see different, like, I guess, designs or like
Yeah,
like hair kept in different ways and different types of clothing, like
totally.
characters in different outfits and whatnot. It's always fun, for
hmm
sure. Miyuki is one of those that we rarely get to see that with. He's basically always wearing his uniform,
That's true.
almost. Uh, but anyway, yeah, into
Sorry
Kaguya.
to cut
Uh,
you off. Yeah.
oh no, no, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Because I feel like this might take a while for us to talk about this
Mm,
bit of her. So, basically, we learn that she has missed out on a lot of things in life, like pretty simple things to like mostly,
hmm
things that most people have been doing, but she's used to not doing it, so she doesn't complain, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Uh,
you know, she's learned to hide her disappointment and some of these little desires for the little things
mm,
through indifference, and this is just the way it's supposed to be.
right.
But she's hiding it, not necessarily accepting it, if you will. Well, I guess she's trying to accept it, but it's still hurting her because she still has these wants, and I mean, she's kind of a bird in a cage in some case. So
Absolutely.
it's really heartbreaking to see.
That whole aspect with her being like a, prisoner in her own home, sort of like that really
Porcelain
reminds
doll
me.
for display.
Like, yeah, with the doll, yeah, like it reminds me a lot of the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter there, with because Princess Kaguya in that tale, she was more or less forced to grow up in a very like kind of royal environment where she's expected to act a certain way and like not really act very human at all,
Mm-hmm.
like to be this very fine lady, whatever, and, basically like an elevated doll or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really what we see here from Kaguya Shinomiya as well. And we see her father, or not we don't see him very well, but we do get like the first little taste of what he's like. And
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah. Uh, it was so gut wrenching to see her
Yeah.
get ready to go shopping with Chika
Yeah.
and Kay and all them, and
Mhm.
she was so ecstatic, and so cute to see her this happy, and she was ready, and
Yeah.
then just to have that taken right from her, she has to go to her dad, and it's for nothing basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was almost just a power move by the dad.
Definitely seemed like it.
You know, I mean, I'm with Hayasaka on
Right.
what she said to him. I mean that
Uh-huh.
that was such a jerk
Yeah.
move.
Up yours, old man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Definitely.
gosh. So just seeing that and the subsequent not being able to do the fireworks, which is also just a punch in the gut,
Yeah.
is heartbreaking.
So unfair. Yeah.
Very unfair.
Yeah, and when we see Kaguya crying,
Mm,
like both times we see her crying, like on her bed the first time, and then
hmm.
second time, under the stairs, in the alley, whatever. Like, it just breaks my heart. Like, so, like, I will say I cried
Hmm.
my heart out reading this volume. Even like, and
Mm,
this is the second time I ever read it, and I watched the scenes in the first season twice as well.
hmm.
But still, I was crying to the point where like I couldn't see the pages like behind all of the tears in my eyes.
It's
Uh,
emotional.
it
It,
really, really is.
and that line where she says, "I don't have any control over my life," it hits hard. That
Hmm.
is such kind of a scary thing to think about, where you can't do, or you just be a normal human. You're just kind of, like we said earlier, this doll for other people to admire.
Right.
And yeah, that I guess if you know my thoughts on Titan Tea Time, I'm big on freedom, and
Yeah.
it hurts me to see anybody lack that freedom, or not
Mm,
or feel like they don't have that freedom, and that's definitely what I feel from Kaguya here.
definitely. And she was sort of excusing the situation,
Mhm.
and like being like, oh yeah, it's okay, like it's okay that I didn't get to go shopping because at least I'm gonna go to the fireworks later. And she kept
Right.
looking forward to that and being like, okay, it's fine that I didn't get what I wanted right there because at least I'll have the fireworks.
Mhm.
But then she got that taken away from her as well, and that was just like the last straw, I feel like.
Yeah,
And that was when she really broke down
I
completely as
agree.
well.
It's kind of no wonder she turned into the ice princess that she was in her first year.
Yeah,
Or I get
for
maybe
sure.
I think it was just the first year, before the first year, as well. But yeah,
Right.
it's no wonder she had that personality, and it just
Hmm.
makes you appreciate more her relationship with Miyuki and Chika, and somewhat somewhat friendship with Ishigami. Something that she
Yeah.
desperately needed.
Yeah, and actually I thought that was so nice when she was out and she was like running toward the place where the fireworks were gonna be, and
Hmm.
she thought of not only Miyuki. Miyuki obviously he's the obvious one, not because she's in love with him,
Hmm.
but she thought of you and Chika as well,
True.
as
Yeah.
she wanted to spend time with them too, in that moment, basically almost just as much as Miyuki.
Mm-hmm.
Despite, all of the, she's had a lot of negative thoughts about both of those characters. But, she does hold them dear, and that was so nice to see.
It really was.
So nice to see.
Going back to her dad, like we see him just ever so slightly, and that's about it. But we also don't see her mother. I don't know if up to this point we understand her mother's situation. Unless we do. Do you?
Have they mentioned anything about her mother at any point?
I can't recall.
Because I know something, but I can't
Right.
remember if it's been covered yet or not. So maybe I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, for now don't say anything. And if we have covered it all, I mean we'll figure it out. But
We'll find out
we'll
sooner
find
or
out.
later.
But as far as I know, her mother is nowhere to be seen, and it's just no wonder she would desire those or the familial love that we saw in Volume 4 with her imaginations of the Shinomiya family and being
Right.
accepted into their family. So it again another part where it breaks your heart and you can see why she has these feelings and these desires.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this volume gives such good insight into why Kaguya is the way she is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel,
Yeah.
and the other volumes have been building up to it slowly, or well,
Right.
not maybe not. Well, I mean, there was a lot
Well,
in
at least 4 and maybe a bit of 3.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
just 4.
At least, yeah. Maybe it was just 4, but it started giving us hints there, sort of, and now
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of, well, obviously we don't have the full picture yet,
True.
entirely, but we did get a lot of insights, and I think it's enough to really understand and to see that there's great reason for why Kaguya is the way she is.
A thought just came to my mind, and I'm going off script here, folks. Thought came to my mind is since I'm not exactly sure how marriage works with the Shinomiya clan and the others of high society, but I do know in Japan, among same with a lot of other countries, they used to have arranged marriages, especially with the kizoku, what's kizoku in English? The aristocrat. And I wonder if that's potentially in Kaguya's future is some sort of arranged marriage situation because she doesn't really have that sort of freedom to to be in love. So I don't know. Maybe that's me just overthinking it or not understanding the situation, but that's just a thought I had as we were talking just now.
I see. I don't think I'm gonna say anything about that,
That's fine. That's fair.
but that's
I won't take it. I won't take it either way.
good. That's interesting though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we got to see her do some pretty sick stunts when she, went down that zip line
Right.
down
So
to the car.
about that, Hayasaka says usually you have a plan to escape. What's going on? Have you
Yeah.
given up? And that got me thinking: how many times has a situation like this happened, and she still tries to escape?
Well, I mean, she has, she did the whole thing where she punctured the carts in order to walk to school.
Okay. There was a cat in the engine and
Oh,
whatnot.
Right.
Was it a cat? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, I think that's what it was.
Well, she did.
She
She
punctured
did.
something else at some point.
Right. That was what was that
was that
for?
again?
Was that? I think that was to walk. That was walk with Miyuki under the umbrella.
Ah, that's right.
That's when she punctured the tire.
Right. Yeah. So she does stuff like that from time to time.
Okay, so that's what she was talking about, rather than
At least
Kaguya
I
being
think so.
known for making escapes. I guess that's the escape she's talking about. Okay.
Mm.
I also like how Twitter, that whole thing, it has a reason for existing. Like, it
Yes.
wasn't just a cute thing for her to silently stalk Miyuki. It actually plays a role in it. I mean, one, that's just good writing, but
Yeah.
I like how it kind of helped Kaguya reach out to Miyuki in a way, and we'll talk about Miyuki when we get to his section. But anyway,
Yes.
just wanted to briefly bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it wasn't just there for like to be like a one-off comedic
Mm-hmm.
chapter. It actually, yeah, as you said, it did play a role later on, which is pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have too much on Kaguya specifically. More? Do you have anything?
Battle 45 is obviously my favorite chapter with her, no doubt. It's the one with the fireworks, the part two.
Uh huh.
And I mean, both of those show us so much of her backstory and what she goes through on weekly, daily basis,
Yeah.
and that was such a great thing to see, about her sheltered life. But even more so than that was that final fireworks scene. I mean, we'll talk about the romance, but
Yep.
that is the scene for me that made me fall in love with Kaguya. It was so impactful.
It really, really is.
And besides that, I mean, she's pretty hilarious throughout this volume. Besides those two chapters, she has a lot of funny moments,
Absolutely.
funny, cute moments.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
good mix of fun and cute.
like, she's kind of an airhead in the way she reacts to some of these things. For example, when they are able to get the same elective class, her plan basically works. She does this like goofy little dance, or this celebration dance, and she does another dance when she mistakenly thinks Miyuki wants Kaguya to celebrate his birthday together, like alone,
Yep.
and then she has that kind of airhead moment, and then she does another dance, or something like a dance. I'm actually wasn't sure if it was a dance or not, but it looked like it. Anyway, so those are just really. I would expect those kind of actions from Chika, kind of, uh, but it was funny and cute to see her do that.
Yeah, I think when she's under the impression that Miyuki wants to spend his birthday alone with her,
Yeah, that's it.
I think she's purring like a
That's
cat.
right. Yeah, she says her. I mean, that's anyway. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I think, by the way, earlier I think I may have said Shinomiya family. I meant the Shirogane family when I was talking about how they were she Kaguya envisioned the Shirogane family as accepting her, not the Shinomiya
Oh,
family.
oh yeah,
I,
gotcha.
I keep
I see.
getting Shirogane and Shinomiya mixed up for some reason.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, that's all I have on Kaguya.
Gotcha. I think one thing I could say about that, basically, you feel like she has been acting a little bit more like an airhead to a degree.
To quote Bambi, she's acting more Twitter-pated.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I'm feeling like maybe an explanation to that possibly could be because of like sort of like that's the aftermath and the result of everything that happened at the
Mm-hmm.
fireworks. With the fireworks, she's filled up with some kind of joy that she doesn't really know what to do with, and also like her love for Miyuki is
Yeah.
you know developing more and more.
I mean, she's basically fallen head over heels for this guy at this point.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And who can blame her?
Uh, yeah, let's go into Miyuki a bit.
Oh my gosh. The song I Need a Hero? This could have been playing during his whole part. What a
Like in
champ.
the fireworks chapters, yeah,
Yeah, in the fireworks chapters. What
totally.
Oh my gosh, like so woon. He's oh gosh, so great. So great. I
He was amazing.
I loved it. He was so cool.
He really
I
was.
understand his embarrassment. The next chapter. I mean, yeah, that's some corny, cheesy stuff, but dude, like it worked, man. You're good. You're good.
Right. And he didn't even necessarily know that Kaguya even had a Twitter. She has 0 followers on
Mm,
Twitter. We could see that. And he was still able to find her Twitter page and find her like the thing that she had written on there. And then he came and found her. That was amazing.
gosh, what a great ending to part one.
Uh-huh.
You know, and he's just like, You got it. So, I wonder if he said ryokai or something in Japanese. I'm not sure, but that is yeah, so cool. I mean, what a champ.
He totally is. And in the beginning of the volume, we see that he, due to he and Kaguya not having interacted whatsoever for like basically the whole summer break, all he's done is, every day he's studied, worked, eaten, taken a bath, and then gone to sleep. It's like rinse and repeat. Typical Shirogane
Yeah.
lifestyle, I guess. But really, it's kind of sad. And he writes texts and then he erases them before sending them, and
He's like, what do I have is this my first crush? And it's like, it is.
yeah,
The narrator says that. It is.
that is so great.
I can't believe he's still in denial about it. Or what, is he trying to pretend? Is he trying to fool himself into thinking that this is not his first rodeo? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know.
It's his pride, man. It's his pride.
It's his pride, and maybe also, yeah, like his pride, and like maybe he's thinking that, ooh, I'm beyond the age where I'm allowed to have something called a first crush.
Good point.
Maybe like, but that is due to his pride, most likely, if that is the case.
No, but I agree with your reasoning.
And yeah, you touched on the, like, after the whole fireworks thing, and they come back to school, and how he regrets, like, those somewhat cheesy lines that he said.
I've been there. I mean, not in this exact situation, but I've looked back on things I've said or things I've done, and
Yeah.
like, man, just kill me now. I regret everything.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that, honestly.
Exactly. It's normal. It's normal.
Yeah, really, totally, absolutely. And we learned that he has a phobia of fish, and also apparently blood.
Interesting.
In one of the Chika helps him out chapters.
In that chapter, he mentions that he can only show his weaknesses to Chika.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking why he wouldn't be able to show to Ishigami, who, for all intents and purposes, or at least from what we've seen, seems like his best friend. You would think he'd be able to open up to him. But then I was thinking maybe he's worried that he would lose Ishigami's respect for him if he were to reveal these weaknesses. So, although you think maybe Ishigami would notice some of these weaknesses, being as observant as he is, but that's besides the point. Chika, on the other hand, I wouldn't think that she would be the first one that he would go to or express, but I think ever since the volleyball moment where she accidentally stumbled upon him trying to get better at volleyball, he's basically had no other person to turn to besides her. So it was more of a accidental thing, but now that she knows he has these weaknesses, he feels that she is the only one he can open up to. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, like, I think definitely, like, the pure chance that she happened to, walk in on him slamming his face into volleyballs, that kind of opened that door, I think. And I think also back in that chapter, when he realizes, well, first he doesn't know that someone came in, like, he heard that someone came in, but he didn't realize who it was, so he kind of freaks out. Oh shit, someone saw me. Then he sees that it's Chika, and he's like, oh, it's just Chika.
Oh.
I think it's like something along those lines in that chapter, where he because of the, he doesn't think too highly of her. So with that logic, he's like, oh, then it's fine, since she probably has a lot of flaws, I guess, in Miyuki's minds. Then it's fine, because it's like, I don't know. So I think that's also part of it, but also, yeah, like, and then since she started to learn about his flaws, then he feels like, yeah, that's the one person that can know. No one else can know. So he kind of keeps it to her, possibly, for that reason as well.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and she's so sweet. We'll get to her in a little bit, but the last thing I just wanted to touch on very, very briefly about Miyuki is that apparently he is rather superstitious. He checks his horoscope every morning. he has a bunch of like charms, like lucky charms on his bag, and which is fun, I guess, but it's not something I would have expected necessarily out of his character.
Yeah, yeah, same. I mean, I think some people who are it might be a stereotype where some people who are strong studiers or they do an incredible amount of studying also tend to grab a omamori for studying or something like that at the temple or jinja or whatever.
Hmm,
I think that might be a stereotype. I'm not sure,
I see.
but I definitely it didn't occur to me that he would be a superstitious type until this
Yeah,
chapter.
right, right. But yeah, that was fun to learn
Hmm.
little stuff about him like that.
Definitely.
Do you have anything more on Miyuki?
I just another sign of his good characteristic and just being a great guy is
Hmm?
he was willing to spend a good chunk of his money to find Kaguya or get her to the fireworks festival. I
Right,
forget how
that's
much
right.
it said he spent.
I think it
It
was
was uh-huh.
about 17,000 yen.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
And he planned that money for dates throughout the summer with Kaguya, so I guess it was still spent on the person he intended it to. But still, that's a lot of money for a high schooler.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Especially taking his age into account, that is quite a bit. But then again, he hadn't wasted any money throughout the whole summer break anyway, so he he uh, he could afford it probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wasting it all on that last night, or not wasting it,
No,
but
no, no.
spending it.
Yeah. One more thing I had going back to that chapter with the horoscope
Yeah.
and his birthday. Help me clarify this. Does his family not celebrate birthdays really anymore because they're just so busy? And is there some sort of like economical reason they don't do that, or
Um.
is it that he was just trying to play cool and not bring
Uh.
attention to it?
The way I have understood it is that in his family, in the Shirogane family, like his father and his sister, they don't celebrate birthdays because maybe it's partially because I mean maybe it's largely because of their like not amazing financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I think there's also like just kind of like a social thing between them that they just don't necessarily care about it that much. But
Okay.
that could be an effect of the fact that they don't have you know bundles of money, maybe. But yeah, like none of them really seem to care that much about it. I think
Okay.
it was mentioned in one of the previous volumes that on Miyuki's birthdays his dad gives him like 2,000 yen, and
It.
that's like it. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Good to know.
Which is about $20.
Right.
But yeah. Moving on to Chika Fujiwara. The best new piece of information that we learned about her this volume, in my opinion, is that she is a real ramen foodie.
Yeah. This could this girl be one of my people?
Yes, exactly.
Gosh, I want
Oh.
some ramen so bad.
Oh yeah, when I was reading that chapter, I was already hungry when I started reading it, and I just
Mm.
got like so much more hungry as I was reading it. Oh, it just looked so tasty. Uh, but yeah, she knows how to eat ramen like a pro, and she thinks that Miyuki and Kaguya are playing a game in the student council chambers when they're like walking past each other.
Oh, she's so funny. She's so oblivious
She
sometimes.
yeah, she just assumes they're playing a game, and she's like, "Oh, I guess I don't know the rules of this game."
And then she's like, "Oh, Ishigami, you don't even know how to play."
Yeah, she kind of just smirks at him like. Uh, yeah, that was really funny actually.
This, Chika went on a lot of vacations this time. She's very outgoing in that sense, and very
Definitely.
very well off to do apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, I
Wow.
mean, not surprising considering their school.
Yes.
Um, but anyway, it was interesting to see, at least as sisters. I won't go into them detail yet, but as
Mm,
sisters, there's definitely some differences of personality, but at the same time, there's definitely a body type that they share, all share.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you could tell they all come from the same family line. Just say that.
Definitely. Kaguya would not be able to pretend to be a sister of theirs.
No,
She would. It
no.
wouldn't necessarily. It wouldn't really work.
Yes, yeah. Wouldn't go down very well.
Ishigami probably wouldn't suggest any of them to become archers.
Probably not. Yeah. I don't think he suggests anything to them at this point
No, he wouldn't
for
dare.
fear of his own life.
Yeah.
I I I can really go back. I mean, she was hilarious as always in this volume, but there's two moments in this chapter for Chika that spoke to me, and that was one where she. First off, let's talk about the fish and her helping Miyuki try to overcome that. That moment where Miyuki says she's the only one he can tell her weaknesses, that really had an impact on her.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is she's just a kind-hearted person, and saying something like that would, make her kind of melt in her hands in that kind of sense. Okay, I'll do it, fine.
Uh-huh.
And I think another part could be that this is kind of having that sort of relationship with someone is maybe something she desires, not necessarily romantically, but with a friendship. She's complained. Well, complain's the wrong word. She's talked about in the past where potentially she doesn't get along with others as easily, or her classmates as easily. So having someone who is willing to open up to her, probably hearing that probably means a lot to her, I think.
Absolutely.
So there's that, and I don't hate me for bringing this up,
Uh-huh.
but maybe there's a tinge of some sort of romantic feelings there. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, look, I part of me wonders, is there some sort of payoff to this consistent new, other than just being funny chapters, but this consistent Chika helps Miyuki, and if it's just comedic and we just get to see more of different sides of them, I'm totally fine with that. But after this chapter, part of me wonders if there is something that Akasaka is trying to build up between these two, and probably not necessarily from Miyuki's side, but maybe Chika, as time goes on, maybe grows a little too fond of Miyuki. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. And again, I think she desires friendship more than romantic feelings at this point. But that was just something that came to my mind when I read that.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, keeping spoilers out of it. What, if you can, what do you feel, or at least in that interaction, what did you think of?
I definitely think that compared to previous chapters where Chika has helped Miyuki out in that kind of way, this one felt like maybe it leaned a little bit more into that, like into something potentially romantic, but maybe. However, I don't think that is what it is. I choose to think that it's more so Chika just, not really being able to say no to
Right.
someone who needs her help.
Responding well to that kind of request or something like that.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, just in general, I think we all know, maybe not all of us, but like a lot of us have some kind of subconscious desire to help, like
Sure.
to teach, maybe like.
Well, maybe be wanted, like someone, like we want someone.
We want to show what we know, and we want to
Yeah.
maybe pass our knowledge on to someone
Yeah,
else. Like
yeah.
I think that's something a lot of people have just in them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, and definitely with Chika, she's definitely that kind of kind person.
Definitely.
Until she finds out that all that was for naught, and then maybe she has a bit of regret.
Yeah.
I am continually
Yeah.
entertained by the last pages of each of these chapters, these kind of
Hmm.
chapters. And she's okay. I'm not doing that again, like never again. And it just says to be continued.
Yeah, all
I,
right.
I this poor child. When will her
Uh,
suffering end?
I don't know. Um, one last thing from that chapter regarding Chika is that she brings these horror movies, so she and Miyuki can watch those together, and that it was she mentioned that. I mean, first of all, that was really funny to see them watch those films together,
Hmm.
like basically watching horror movies for educational purposes when it comes to gutting a fish. That's creative. But anyway, she says that she borrowed those films from her sister, and I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's from her older sister. I'm guessing, because I just feel like that might be something that their father might not allow, just based on what we know from previous volumes.
Hmm.
Like horror movies feel, or unless maybe he's cool with horror movies. I don't know, but I was thinking maybe it's her older sister because maybe she's old enough, so her dad allows her to watch stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. That was the first thought I had. I doubt it's the little sister, unless she has a
Right.
secret horror collection.
I mean, I mean, we I think it was in the first volume. We kind of got some sort of hint that Chica might have some sort of fascination with like the occult and kind of horror stuff when they talk about going like
Oh
where to
yeah.
go for summer vacation, sort of. Like
Hmm.
the ocean or the mountains, and then Chica suggests this mountain that's supposedly like haunted or something like that, if I recall. So she seems to have some sort of fascination for that. So who knows? Maybe her little sister does too. I don't know.
It's funny that she'd have a fascination for that, but then she's maybe not so great at watching horror movies. But I guess it's a little
Right.
different. It's like spooky
Yeah.
versus gore or
Right.
horror.
Yeah. Actually, for me, that's a big difference. I don't like gore very much usually.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm with you.
it's strange. In Attack on Titan, I really usually enjoy the gore, but in like everything else, I'm really disgusted by it. Anyway.
I agree with that. But yeah, that's a tangent.
Yeah. So yeah, anything else on Chica?
Yes, so a couple things. One about her kind of being a teacher slash mother type figure to Miyuki.
Mm.
We see that again briefly in the chapter with the electives where Miyuki's like mulling over what he should pick, and he's like, "Oh, maybe I should do music," and she just grabs his shoulder and she's like, "You can't." Like that.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the scariest faces she's made. Uh, and she's
I mean, she's super
and she's
serious.
oh well, she's super serious, super traumatized.
Yeah.
And the face like once she says, "If possible, please refrain yourself," and then the next face, in the next panel, Miyuki's thinking like Fujiwara's will is strong here. She'll stop me no matter what. It just her face just off the corner is I don't know, just something like she's emotionally scarred for the rest of her life,
Yeah.
and she truly was. Anyway, I really like that face, but also it's just the little things where he's listing the benefits of all, and then she kind of glares at him when at the mention of music again. I don't know.
Right.
I find that
Yes.
really endearing about her is you know
Yeah.
she just has all sorts of reactions.
Yeah. I thought that page was really funny when Miyuki mentions these different electives, and Kaguya looks the exact same on all three of those panels.
Yeah,
And then we have Chica, like relatively similar on the first two, and then on the last one, she's just like glare, like
it's
no.
like how dare you?
Yeah.
You will not ruin this for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
the last thing for Chika for me is right after the ramen scene where she meets Ishigami and Miyuki,
Yes.
and Ishigami offers her the mints because of the garlic smell,
Mm-hmm.
which apparently, I guess I didn't really, I kind of knew this, but I'm understanding this a little more maybe. The Japanese are a little more susceptible to the smell of garlic, or they don't really like it that much. So anyway, so Ishigami being the guy, the more observant and apparently a very good smeller, he noticed the garlic on her breath and gave her a mint, and she was very embarrassed by that. I
Yes.
mean that makes sense. But as we see throughout their relationship, Chika seems to have a lot of anger towards Ishigami,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it's not justified. I think some of it
Yeah.
is. I mean, the shampoo thing. Yeah, I guess that's a little weird. I mean, he's just trying to be nice, but I guess I could see why someone would be thrown off by that. The garlic breath. I mean, okay. I guess you can be a little self conscious and not be a little upset about that. But having the same birthday and being upset about that,
Yeah.
I at the beginning of this volume, it brings up Ishigami for the first time in this student council relationship diagram, and the first thing it puts down is, or not the first thing, but one of the new things it adds is the arrows for Ishigami and Chika. Ishigami thinks she's insane, and which yeah, okay, I agree with that. And then Chika
Mhm.
thinks Ishigami is a nemesis, and I guess her reactions that does make sense after reading this volume. But before this volume, I didn't get that vibe. I just thought there was just a lot of misunderstandings. Or
Well, he does rub her the wrong way a lot of the time.
I guess yeah,
Obviously, it's not intentionally on his part, but it has been a thing that's happened like frequently.
true. Especially after this volume for her. So
Right, but I feel like it's happened ever since he got came in with in chapter or sorry in volume 3. He has
true.
been doing things, gesturing like her breast size.
Yeah.
That was only one of the first like early ones, but it's been little things
Right.
like that here and there.
True.
Uh,
True. 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 I just think she's not giving him the fair chance. Uh,
for sure, absolutely. He's a really solid bloke.
I mean, yeah. I mean, sure, he's a teenager, and the breast talk was probably a little too much, but you know, I think Chica is also a lot of times in the wrong here. But anyway,
Absolutely.
uh,
But like I don't think she necessarily got upset with him when he gave her a breath mint, but she got embarrassed. Like
oh,
definitely got embarrassed. Like because I mean maybe she got upset, but I don't think that was an obvious thing to take from that as a reader. I don't think necessarily.
yeah, yeah, I think yeah. There was definitely some embarrassment there, but I don't know.
Right.
I feel like that could potentially add to Chica's somewhat dislike for him.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
But anyway,
Um, and I do think that someone who has eaten garlic, especially like raw garlic, and that
hmm
like a whole piece of like not piece like a whole, what do you call it,
clove.
clove, yes, um like, and she had just eaten it. I don't think that's just a Japanese thing. I think people all over would be able to sense that, especially someone who's as perceptive as you is.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's true that there is this thing called garlic breath
It gives some
and
pretty
whatnot.
bad odors from all sorts of entrances and exits, I would argue.
Yeah, there's a stereotype in Japan where foreigners just smell bad, just when they sweat, and
Oh,
yeah, it's a thing. And so some people have been bullied because of that.
like foreigners who live in Japan?
hmm So I've
Huh.
always wondered why that was. I mean, I think it's becoming a little more accepted in Japan that they just understand that different cultures are just different.
Right.
Um,
Huh.
and so I've always wondered what that was. Someone would try to explain to me that it was because of how much garlic we eat that we uh, our body odor ends up smelling different. So the Japanese body odor would smell funny to someone who, if they were to live in America, let's say,
Right.
it would smell funny to Americans, versus American living in Japan, it smells funny to them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Eh,
it's really probably just like you're basically something you're not used to in your culture.
right.
Like,
So I always thought it was something like they're not used to the garlic, and so
hmm,
maybe that's why they're more susceptible to the smell.
uh,
But maybe I'm
maybe.
overthinking it, and it's just classic garlic breath.
I would think that, but that is an interesting point though that you bring up as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but hey, let's move on to Yu Ishigami. We've already talked about the garlic thing, the breath mint
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
which was, honestly just a nice gesture on his part, I
Yeah,
think.
I agree. Yeah.
And I thought it was nice to see him, along with Chika and Miyuki. He was also searching for Kaguya during the fireworks festival.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, you know, because obviously like you and Kaguya haven't been on the best of terms necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still
Mm-hmm.
there, running around, getting sweaty for, in order to try to find her with the others is super sweet. So yeah, I thought that was nice. Like nothing hasn't necessarily been said between the two. Or actually, something sort of was in the last chapter when she gives that like angelic smile
Oh
to
yeah.
Ishigami, and she's like, "Oh, dude, if there's ever anything you want to talk about, I'm here for you." That was like felt a bit out of nowhere. But I think maybe she meant it. Maybe she was just feeling extra positive, and she said that because I do think she thinks fondly of him ultimately. She doesn't despise him.
Well, I think especially after this volume, she
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
that way. Uh, she realizes how special the bond that the student council has,
Hmm.
and with not being with them for the whole summer, I think it again, the heart grows fonder. When
Oh yeah.
the absence or whatever. I think that not only applied to Miyuki, but it also applied to Chika and Ishigami
Oh
in
yeah.
in sort of a friendship kind of a way.
Right. Yeah, I really like that. That's a really good point actually. Yeah. So I think this volume, even though you really didn't have very big of a role in this volume, uh, but I do think that his, you know, relationship to Kaguya did grow better throughout it,
I agree.
in a discreet kind of way.
Hmm. For me, Ishigami was just hilarious in the chapters he was in. He wasn't in a lot this volume besides the fireworks one, but the chapter with Kashiwagi and her boyfriend, and him
Yes.
just ripping out the paper towel or the toilet paper. It's like, what are
Uh
you gonna
huh.
do with that?
Yes.
That it it was great, and his
Yeah.
reactions and everything. So he's so great to have. He just adds another layer to the student council and their reactions to
And he could
things.
see through Kashiwagi's boyfriend's, from the start. He could tell that he was only there to kind of gloat.
Gloat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun. Definitely. Anything more on you though?
I don't think I have anything
Hmm.
else.
No. Then let's talk a bit about Ai Hayasaka. I did feel very sorry for her when Kaguya kept calling her out of the bath, like time and
Yeah.
time again, over and over.
Uh,
She needed to take it easy for a moment. And like even the fact that that chapter even ends with Kaguya bursting in, like again, and that kind of being the punchline of the chapter. Uh, Poor Hayasaka.
yeah. You do feel bad for her. You wonder if y- does she ever get this alone time? Like how rare is that time? It must be
Yeah.
fairly rare, and so if you do feel bad, and not only that, it was as she kind of felt like she could finally relax. She
Hmm.
started thinking about Miyuki and Kaguya's relationship and how it's like it's nice,
Yeah.
must be nice to have someone you love or something like that, and
Uh
it
huh.
got it. I think that kind of set a plot point for her in that she also has this desire per se, or to have love. Not to say she has someone in mind,
Hmm.
but she definitely kind of desires that uh, relationship there, and it made me think about Kaguya's situation where she's just a doll, to be seen, not without freedom or whatever.
Mm.
And I wonder if that applies, or if Ai feels the same way, in that because Kaguya can't express herself, or she has these rules, she's also somewhat bound by these rules. I'm not exactly sure how it works yet. I'm sure we'll get more explanation about the
Hmm.
Hayasaka family and the Shinomiya family, but it's interesting to think about, and I wonder
Right.
if we'll dive in more into that later on.
I feel like Hayasaka has been shown to have more freedom and be more in touch with that side of her.
True.
She goes through some loopholes to kind of bend the clothing dress code at the school. For example, is something that she chooses to do. That's her decision, and
Good point.
it's one thing that she might do in order to it is a sense of freedom, um, rebellion, maybe even. Um, and I think the fact that she isn't actually a Shinomiya,
Hmm.
I do think, even though she obviously works very close to the Shinomiya family,
Hmm.
I do still think that there is a pretty big difference there. That she isn't bound by the same sorts of like family
Gotcha.
rules, at least from what I've been able to tell here.
Yeah, that's. I'll be honest. That's what I felt like
Hmm.
when I first read it in Volume 4. But then when we discussed it last week,
Ah,
I someone mentioned that she was kind of bound by those rules as well, or something like that. And so I started thinking, oh, well, maybe that's.
right. Yeah, I think Lucas may have brought up the idea that since they and I do think that makes sense that like they
Hmm.
both kind of grew up in a house where they have these like these uh on the wall they have these lists of rules sort of and etiquettes or whatever. So I
Hmm.
guess I mean, yeah, it does make sense, I think, for her to be influenced to a degree, but just based on what we've seen of her,
Hmm.
I don't think she is as affected as Kaguya is. But it's definitely possible that she is affected to a degree.
To a degree. Got it.
Mm,
Got it.
I think.
And one other thought about this very scene is I wonder if this is her trying, or her feeling like she can't be her true self, or maybe her true self is not good enough, something like that. Um, just because, only because she starts. She sounds like she's about to go off on a monologue. If only, if only what? Like what could be holding her back from having someone she likes? Is it her job? Is it some sort of rules we don't understand? Or is it this personality, not disorder, it's not a disorder, this personality change that she does, or these different facades? Like maybe she doesn't
Right.
have enough confidence in herself.
I think you brought up two good possibilities there. One of them being her like different personas. Like she seems to
Persona,
maybe
yeah.
struggle with that and like feeling comfortable with the real her
Mm-hmm.
seems to be some sort of issue with her. And also you mentioned her work, which is very time demanding and
Right?
very like maybe she doesn't feel like she would have time for something like that. I think those are both really good like possibilities for why that is. But I do
Gotcha.
think a third idea might also just simply be that she hasn't found the person, like someone that she has fallen for like that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also potentially maybe an explanation.
Well, and maybe that's because it's just her work, like she doesn't have time to find someone that she would
Right.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot that could be it there, but there definitely are reasons though.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I in that chapter, I mean that chapter was really like her main chapter. I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely admire her patience with Kaguya in that, and also her frankness, sort of when Kaguya is like, "Oh, I know, I'll just make my account private too," and then he's like, "No," I is like, "No," like when in the past has that ever worked? Like that's like,
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson?
right. And like I remember that was my thought too, and like I hadn't even seen what I had to say. Like I had the same
Lol.
thought when Kaguya said that. I was like, no, Kaguya, like this is just repeating basically your own same old stuff that never went anywhere. But yeah, I do like that a lot. And obviously, another kind of just her being frank is she doesn't say it to Kaguya's dad's face, but she does say
Mm.
"up yours, old man," which I
Mm-hmm.
just yes, go girl. Like he's a prick.
Yeah.
Uh,
I did like that a lot from her, and you see more so than ever that Hayasaka is the one who really understands and feels guilty about not guilty, but feels bad for Kaguya's situation
yeah.
in that she's treated unfairly. She's not really free to be herself or to do the things she wants.
Mm.
But Hayasaka is really the only one that fully understands that at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to be able to see that someone can sympathize, empathize, whatever the right word is.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think Kaguya is really lucky to have Ai at her
Mm-hmm.
side, throughout all this. To have
Yeah.
someone who knows what she's going through and who helps her out to the big extent that Ai does. And it's not only that she helps out with things like basically being given orders and stuff. Like obviously she does that too. She acts on Kaguya's different plans and stuff. She goes above and beyond there, but she also is willing to take things into her own hands when necessary. When Kaguya was completely destroyed and just crying in her bed, she wasn't like gonna act or anything, take any action or give any orders or anything to Ai, but I was the one who was able to on her own accord try to sort of get Kaguya back on her feet
Yeah.
and then obviously help her escape, which was really 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 sweet.
Yeah.
Anything else on Ai?
Master of disguise.
Yes.
She is the master of disguise.
She is. I love that. Yeah, I mean she has a lot of experience in dressing up and
For sure.
like that, it seems. At least we've seen it now in 2 volumes. So we can move on to some of the smaller characters in the volume.
Okay.
Let's talk about Nagisa Kashiwagi a little bit. I thought it was really funny and sort
It's
of
like she's
sweet.
glowing or something.
Right. Yeah, that. But when she and her boyfriend just kind of mess with the student council,
That was a little whew, a little spicy.
very very spicy. Oh my goodness. Uh, but yeah, and then she just opens the doors like, just kidding. I really really like that because we haven't really seen necessarily that side of her before. We know that
Yeah, that
she
playful side, yeah.
right. Yeah, I thought that was really fun to see that, and we also get to know that she has been able to influence her boyfriend's appearance and make him change his hair and get piercings and even change his way of speaking, and all because she won their battle of love.
Exactly.
Which is just a really funny, like, just I think it's really funny that Akasaka has that couple as part of the story as just an example of how it can turn out for
Mm-hmm.
someone who confesses his feelings. Uh, I mean, obviously, I mean he's Kashiwagi's boyfriend is happy,
Oh, of course.
in the relationship, but he is a loser. He really is. Like he doesn't seem to have like a he just doing what she wants him to do. I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, I mean, he does seem to go by her whims or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested in this couple because I don't know what to think, other than the fact that Kashiwagi's boyfriend's a loser and she won the war of love or whatever, and
Yeah.
they've gone further and further in their relationship. After this chapter, I started almost seeing Kashiwagi in a new light. It's like
Oh.
maybe there's something to her that I don't understand, or maybe she is just innocent in all this. But it's interesting that she would try to change the boyfriend to be kind of a not a punk, maybe a tool is the right word. I don't know. Either
Yeah.
way, it's interesting to me. And
Hmm.
what really got me kind of spooked was her answer to asking if they had done it before, and she says, "Yes, of course, or we haven't." And but the a couple things. One, Miyuki's like, I can't tell if it's true or not.
Yeah.
It's very like mischievous, but I mean, at the same time, like that's kind of a personal question. Why would you be asking that anyway?
Right.
Um, so I mean, I don't know if they've done it or not in this context,
Right.
but
It's impossible to tell.
yeah. But it's also the fact that she does the okawaii koto, the how cute
Yeah.
face,
Yes.
and
That.
I
Yeah.
so part of me wonders, okay, is that just Miyuki seeing that face because he's so afraid of it?
Ah.
Was that just his imagination, or is there just something more? I don't know. Am I thinking too much about that face, or is she
Um.
being very manipulative here?
I don't know. I'll uh.
Mm,
I'll let you speculate. I suppose.
but gosh dang it, she's adorable. She's cute,
She's
man.
awesome. I love her. I love her. Uh. Definitely. Because I mean, she is more than just a joke character. She is. I mean, I think she has some. I think last volume I said how much I respected her for being like when Kaguya was talking to her about
Mm-hmm.
you know maybe having been touched by Miyuki and whatnot, and how Nagisa just stood her ground like no, he should not have done that. That was it's his responsibility to protect or and like to not inflict any harm or anything like that. And like how she was so firm and decided on that was something I
Yeah,
thought was really really awesome.
that is really awesome. But it also makes me wonder: can that same person go around and have that sort of relationship with a guy already? I don't know. I mean, I guess they've been dating for a few months now, but
Yeah, they've been dating for 4 months according to the
yeah.
manga, if I
I
recall.
mean, according to Miyuki, the fifth date is fair game, right?
Yeah, that was really funny.
Sorry, I probably jumped the gun on that one, but
No, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, no, that was really great, and just getting Kaguya's reactions to every time he
oh
shouts out
my
something like that.
word, oh my word.
But yeah, that was just a great chapter.
I think right now the mysterious people for me are Kashiwagi and her boyfriend and this
Uh
girl
huh.
on this last
Yes,
page.
yes, the girl.
Their story, there better be something good, okay?
Uh
Like it's
huh.
building up to something.
I will say that the girl who seems to be in love with Kashiwagi's boyfriend, she is one of my favorite characters in the story.
Boy,
And
she's crying.
yes, so I actually have something to say about her for this. Like, besides the fact, basically, in the previous volumes, all we've had to say on her is like, she appeared,
Mm-hmm.
because she has appeared actually in every volume so far, but really only super briefly. And yeah, it was very brief in this one as well. But what I had to say about her in this one is like I feel like she's really only making herself more depressed by stalking Kashiwagi and her boyfriend the way she seems to be
For
doing.
real. Yeah.
She has been stalking them for a while now, at least according to the panels that we've seen. And yeah, she really is just like inflicting more harm onto herself than she would have if she had just tried to stay out of it.
She's got to move on.
Yeah, I guess in a way I understand that it's hard because she is supposedly friends with Nagisa, like with
Mm.
Kashiwagi. Like
Mm-hmm.
they seem to be pretty good friends. So even if she didn't stalk them, she would have still had to, you know,
True.
hang
Deal
out with
with them.
Nagisa
Yeah.
and like it's just a hard situation in general. I think for her, but yeah, we don't know much about her at the moment, and uh,
I better get some sort of introduction next volume. I swear. She's on the volume. Like
oh
in the
yeah, she is in
background.
the background of the yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am very excited to get more into her
Eventually.
character. And yes, Kei Shirogane appeared in this volume, but I didn't take any notes for her.
Yeah, neither did I. Uh, Other than the fact that she kind of used language that I guess Shirogane or Miyuki didn't like.
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny. He just writes away and like,
Don't
don't
say
say
that.
hell, yeah, heck, or whatever. Yeah, whatever it was. Uh, yeah, that was nice. And then we got Moiha Fujiwara, the little sister of Chika. Um, she had one really nice part where she was like, the moment Kaguya messaged them and it's like, I can't go shopping with you today. She's like decided right away. Then we'll postpone it then, and just do it again when Kaguya's available.
Good kid.
So good, such a good kid. I really like that.
Hmm.
And or do you have anything more on Moiha?
No, not
No,
at the moment. No.
there wasn't really that much.
No.
But then we have also Toyomi Fujiwara, the older sister.
Hmm.
Um, the only notes I took for her was that apparently she really loved the food in Egypt. uh, I don't know.
She drinks coconuts on her chest.
Yes,
But,
yes, perfect built-in table.
Ah.
Yes. And then the last character that I want to talk about is a middle-aged man called Saburo Odajima, who has a passion for ramen and tasting new ramen places.
Mhm.
Obviously through in the ramen chapter, and how he goes back and forth, being impressed and disappointed in Chika's way to eat ramen, and just like following along with his thought process was just really interesting and funny.
Yeah.
And like he has this kind of like rules as to like what is right and what's wrong, a wrong way to eat ramen, and he's a very very interesting guy, a very peculiar fellow.
Yeah, I know. I liked hearing his commentary on the proper way to eat ramen or ordering
Yeah.
ramen or something like that. It made me question my own ramen skills that I thought I thought I was a pretty good ramen person, but clearly
Yeah.
clearly I am just a noob at all
Yes.
this. I find it also interesting that one of the persons he mentions as the ramen king of Tokyo is a
Yes.
taxi driver that appears later on in the chapter or in the volume.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you thought that was the same guy or not.
Oh, I
Uh,
totally think it's the same guy.
yeah, I think so too. Because I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them to look basically identical and not be the same guy.
I mean, they're
Uh,
both taxi drivers, so they look
yeah.
identical. Both taxi drivers. It just
Mhm.
a little overweight. It made sense.
Yeah, I tried to. I had a little bit of doubt at first. Like I was like, oh, I guess the nose might not be the same nose, and the glasses look slightly different. But no, obviously, it's got to be the same guy. So yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
So those two are like two of the four ramen kings of Tokyo.
Are we gonna meet the rest of the ramen kings?
Maybe.
Oh, interesting. I thought this was a
Maybe.
one and done thing. I guess I
Uh-huh.
shouldn't have expected that.
You never make any assumptions.
Yeah, don't do that.
But yeah, that was very nice. And obviously, like pages like that, like the last page of the ramen chapter, where you get to like really read about those four, Tokyo's four ramen kings.
Hmm.
That's obviously something that you don't really get in like anime adaptations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those sorts of like in-depth kind of just information dumps. Uh, so like pages like that are definitely like stuff that I appreciate a lot with a manga.
Agreed.
Because I don't think I can't remember. I don't think I ever, when I watched the anime, I don't think I ever made the connection between like that the taxi driver was someone significant or someone that we should have known of.
I think I did just because. Well, I don't know why, but I think I did when I watched the anime because I remember reading this chapter and when I got the ramen one, it was like, oh hey, there's the taxi guy that appears later, and then sure enough, he appeared again. So I guess like, I
Well, yeah, he did appear twice in the fireworks place, yeah, but
well, I meant the ramen chapter
oh,
when he appears in the ramen chapter,
oh yeah,
not as like a vision or like oh
right, like very very briefly, yeah.
right, yeah, and and when I was reading that manga, I remember the anime when he was in the fireworks, and I was like, yeah, that's the same guy.
Oh wow, that's a good memory, especially since you've only seen it once and it was quite a
Right.
while ago. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I guess I was just looking for connections, and I saw Taxi, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy was also chubby or something. Anyway,
Good. Yeah, nice work. But yeah, I guess we could move into comedy a bit if you are down.
let's do
The,
it.
the, the comedy discussion. I think I can just continue a little bit with Saburo, right there, since we're sort of on the topic of him already.
Okay.
Uh, well, I guess just that the ramen chapter just in general was just really funny, and how he kept being like, oh, could she be one of us, like could she be one of my kind, and like that was like definitely like some laugh out loud moments for me. And then obviously that the taxi driver, well, we talked about him before, like he was such a cool taxi driver, and I think you makes a remark on that, like he's such a cool driver, like who is this guy? um so yeah, I thought that was just like some nice things about those characters. That was pretty funny in my opinion.
Yeah, with the ramen, it just shows Chika enjoys her life. She's not really thinking about these special ways. Like if it just tastes good or if it sounds good, she does it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't doubt that she's a very intelligent person in her own right, as maybe some of the other characters might doubt. But at the same time, she, if it sounds good to her, she'll try it out, or she'll eat it, or she'll do it. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's. I think this chapter it shows that in a very hilarious way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that like this chapter or this volume kind of it starts off it like I think like not the entire first half of it, but most of the first half of the volume is generally pretty heavy stuff. Like definitely not every chapter. We have the ramen chapter, we have the Hayasaka bath chapter. Like we do have some of those more funny chapters, but for the most part, the first half is pretty heavy
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I mean, Kaguya broke the internet. I mean, that's
Exactly.
pretty
Yeah.
that's pretty heavy, right?
Wow. That's the event of the century, or like whatever I said.
Disaster of the century.
Yeah. So yeah. But then we have like the second half of this volume is, leans much more on the comedy.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
and I thought it worked really well. It was a really nice mix of both. I feel like in the previous chapter or the previous volumes, we sort of had said like, this volume was really good with the romance, but not so good, not as good with the comedy, and vice
Mhm.
versa. We have had
Mhm.
like one or two volumes like that, but I think this one nailed both
Yeah,
really
this is a
well.
great mix, for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, more funny moments.
I think my favorite chapter, comedy wise, um, is either the one where they choose electives or the Kashiwagi one. I think it's a Kashiwagi one, just because I love all these characters and their reactions to how we don't really get too much of a reaction from Chika other than she's a bit embarrassed by it, um,
Yeah.
but just to get Ishigami's reaction and then Miyuki's reaction and the gag where Ishigami's taking the toilet paper and he's like, "What are you gonna do with that?" And then Miyuki takes the toilet paper, does the same thing, and Ishigami asks the same thing. What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
That was
that
hilarious.
that was
And then the icing
great.
on top was Kaguya listening to Miyuki's, I guess, dating strategy of what happens on the fifth date, and she just faints, just plop. I
Yes.
died on that one. That was so
Ah,
hilarious.
yes.
Oh,
Ah.
I can't wait to see that animated. Because that's not in season one. So
Right. Yeah, I think that's part of season 2. That scene, yeah. Um so yes, yeah, that is amazing. I was trying to flip through the pages again here, but I wasn't able to find it. But I took notes on one thing. I just can't remember where it was. Maybe you remember. There was one point in the volume where Kaguya imagines Miyuki saying how cute to her, which
oh,
I thought was hilarious because we never seen the reverse of that before. We have seen many different like versions of her saying how cute, but um, but she actually envisioned him saying that to her in this volume at some point. I just can't remember now where that was.
Oh! It was the Twitter chapter, wasn't it?
Oh
Where
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. When she's slamming on the door, like, let me in. I want to see everything
yeah.
that you're. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought that was so funny. Like, just in general, I mean, that chapter is
Yeah,
just
that chapter is
funny in general.
very funny.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I think my favorite part was when, yeah, oh yeah, there it is, when when Kaguya envisions Miyuki saying how cute and just tossing the key down.
Uh,
Yes. And also the airplane chapter.
that was funny. A little strange, but it was funny.
I mean, the main chunk of it was mostly strange, I think. But the funniest part to me at the end was when Kaguya accidentally
Oh
says,
yeah.
like, that must have been painful, and, like, Miyuki thinks it's about the things he
Oh,
said. Like, oh,
oh.
that was painful when she
What?
said that.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, because I knew he
uh,
was gonna take it the wrong way, and
yeah,
sure enough, he
exactly.
did. Uh,
Yeah. And yeah,
ouch.
she's like the master, like, marksman. Like, she sniped down everyone.
Yeah. But the way in the anime that happens, and then Miyuki runs off, and then she chases after him, and they run through the school, and then they're on like outside on a crosswalk or a sidewalk somewhere, and it's like it was kind of a strange way to end it. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess we're
Right, they
ending the show now.
yeah, they kind of turn the finale of the episode or of the season into that kind of just like a spectacular little scene, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it worked, but it did feel a little odd that he would just start running.
Yeah.
Like, run
Yeah.
home, run
I mean,
home.
obviously, like, that part isn't, like, I guess, something that
Canon.
actually happened, canon, I guess you could say. Yeah, yeah. It's more like for our amusement, sort of,
Yeah,
I think, or at least that's how
yeah.
I interpret it. But yeah, it is. I guess they wanted to end the season off with something big like that.
I guess it wasn't bad, but I'm okay with it not being in the manga. If
I
that.
like it, and actually, and this is not a spoiler since this is literally like the first second of season 2.
Hmm.
They pick it up basically the exact frame that season 1
Oh,
ends it.
okay,
If I
nice.
recall, I'm pretty sure that's what they did, which is pretty cool, I think. So it really like flows into each other very like seamlessly. But yeah, we touched a little bit on Chika basically freaking out about Miyuki choosing music for his electives. I also thought that was really funny. But that chapter, if you're ready to move into romance, but maybe you have some more on comedy.
No, I think I've sprinkled the entire discussion with comedic moments as we talked about the
Oh yeah,
characters and
it
whatnot. So
happens.
yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I'll just repeat that, like you were saying, this is a good balance of the romance and the comedy, and
Uh-huh.
not just between the chapters, but even within the chapters. There's times where
Yeah.
it's funny. There's times where it's romantic, and the other volumes did that as well. But it just feels there's more of a balance
Mhm.
now, and maybe that'll be more of a consistent thing going forward.
I do think so. Yes.
I feel like keep saying something similar like that in every discussion.
No, but
Hopefully
it's true.
that
Like,
changes.
with a story like this, that in my opinion really just keeps getting better and better, almost volume by volume. It is like you kind of have to say that.
Yeah, true.
So I do not blame you for it.
Thank you.
Um, so moving into romance and segueing through the electives chapter, which is mostly a very funny chapter, but it does also have this really nice, I think, sort of romantic moment where Kaguya and Miyuki end up understanding each other in that,
Hmm.
and they, thanks to their understanding of each other, and also, well, from Kaguya's perspective, it's also like a trust in Miyuki. Uh, oh, and actually, from both sides, there's trust and there's understanding, and thanks to that, they both end up on top in that I guess battle, if you want to call it that. Uh, so I thought that was really a really nice thing from a, I guess, sort of a romantic standpoint.
Totally. I agree with that. Um, I think it just all, you can just see it all at the very last page of that chapter with her just beaming with happiness and joy and dancing
Yeah.
around, and
Yeah.
it's really cute. And like I said before, but it's that romantic, like she's really fallen for him. Um,
hmm
it wasn't so much that she needed him to tell her I want to be in the same class. It was her just trying to get into the same class. Like she wanted to be in the same class. It wasn't the more, or I feel like at the beginning of the series she would have wanted Miyuki to say, "Oh, I want to be in the same class," rather than trying to get
Uh-huh.
into the same class. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the chapter kind of started out
Yeah.
as like it seemed like it would be a battle in that kind of sense, but
Mm-hmm.
then obviously like it twists, the twist comes, and Miyuki figures out that ooh, that's what she's got up her sleeve, and like just that unexpected turn was really really sweet.
Indeed.
I think the first chapter of the volume, it ends on a super bittersweet note.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like they just barely miss each other at the student council. Just go in there on the off chance that maybe they would meet each other there. Which, I mean, first of all, was very very slim chance, but they just both have this feeling and this longing for each other. So they go there and just barely miss each other. And they're so used to seeing each other every day in school.
Yeah.
They're just wishing, like hoping for the summer vacation to end as soon as
Mm-hmm.
possible so they can go back to school and see each other like normal again. Like for the volume to kick off with a chapter like that, like I guess I think it set the tone for the first half of the volume really well,
Yeah. I agree.
because it really is, has that kind of vibe, and yeah, did that so well. You just get this feeling in your stomach like, oh no, because I think by now you care so much about these characters and you want them to be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good, so good.
I agree. I guess I'll just go for the most obvious one. Sorry, I'm taking it, but the fireworks. When
Yeah.
they get into the car, and she's flustered because you know Miyuki just found her, and they're getting in this taxi. He's going to all this trouble just for her to see fireworks, and it's really
Yeah.
this fast pace. Even in the manga, this fast paced emotional time, and are they gonna make it? Are they gonna make it? And then you see fireworks, but she's not
Mm.
looking at the fireworks. She's too just awestruck or
Yeah.
captivated by Miyuki, and
Mm.
her heart is beating so loud that she can't hear the fireworks. That the way that is written and how the
Yes.
title is brought into that,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Like
I
one of the
know.
best forms of literature I've seen, uses of the manga that I've seen, that is so
Honestly.
well done.
Yeah.
Um, Brilliant, really. And like I said earlier, that was the moment where I fell in love with Kaguya, and
Mm.
it's like, how do I explain this? It basically takes the essence of love and puts it on a page, and you just see. It's one of the most romantic scenes I've ever seen in anime and also in the manga. That
I
is just
agree.
so heartwarming, touching, captivating, and just an all around special page, and I adore it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I would even go as far as to say even beyond just, weeb type mediums. This, romantic scene is up there competing, in my opinion, against all sorts of stories from, you know, and all over, in regards to just how much it touches me. Uh, you
Mm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it's so impactful,
It's
so
like
beautiful.
impactful, poetic, beautiful.
Hmm
Yeah, it's great. I I adore it. I think
Yeah.
This is a brilliant idea by Akasaka. Good job, man. Good job.
Yes, and I also really like how, I mean, it's obvious, he ties the name of the chapter into Kaguya's thought monologue,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. But I think it's really nice how, because that's obviously that's a two-parter. We got part one and part two of I can't hear the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Part one, it has one meaning where it's she can't hear the fireworks because she's so far away. She hasn't
Yeah.
ever been able to see them, and she can't hear the fireworks because of that. And then obviously in the second part, she can't hear them because she's too excited and too her heart is beating so loud, so she can't hear them for that reason. So it's like a completely different meaning for the
Mm-hmm.
same phrase, and I just really 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 love that turnaround. Really.
I agree, and it's interesting that he uses a different type of sensation, where usually it's I can't see the fireworks, or
Oh
you
yeah.
know, you don't really hear too many people talking about hearing the fireworks.
Mm,
And
you're
so
right.
in this moment, you could still say, "Oh, I can't see the fireworks because I'm busy looking at your face," but there's using the sensation of hearing and then the heartbeat beating so loudly
Yeah.
because she's in love with him. That is there's just something so beautifully unique and magical about that. I love it.
Yeah, we really are fanboying all over this scene, but it deserves it.
This is what made me fall in love with the first anime. I mean, I was enjoying it through the whole time, but then I
Mm,
saw that moment and I was like,
yeah,
wow, this is something special.
totally, absolutely. I think I mentioned before I started reading the manga somewhere in the middle of the first season when it was airing.
Okay.
Um, so I experienced this scene first through the manga
Ah,
because I caught up pretty fast with it because I just got very into it. And those chapters, the fireworks sequence, basically that whole thing, was the first time that I shed tears through the manga. I think on my
awesome.
on a reread though, I think I may have shed some tears even before that, like earlier parts. But my first read through, it wasn't like that was like the first time, and I mean, understandably so. And and then when we got there in the anime, I cried like a baby that time too.
Yeah.
Uh, Watching that last episode of season one. Uh, yeah, it's just I love it might sound weird, but I love crying to stuff like this in fiction.
Sure.
I don't know, just it's so well done. It just touches me in a way that
Yeah.
most things aren't able to really affect me in this way, this strongly.
I agree.
But yeah, I have one more thing on romance to touch on.
Before you go there, I just
Yeah.
real quick. I know we mentioned this earlier, but I'll bring it up again. Is that
Uh,
from this chapter on, there's some sort of change in Kaguya where I do think she falls head over heels for him, and really becomes somewhat aware of her feeling, romantic feelings more so than ever before, and
mm,
and we start seeing that in these subsequent chapters, and that she becomes a little more airhead, or happy and maybe a little silly when things go right with her relationship with Miyuki, where she thinks about him or things
mm-hmm.
like that. So I don't feel like we've had too many reactions like that before this, but I mean, nearly every chapter after that moment has something like that. Um, well, at
Yeah.
least at least two or three instances, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely at least more than there has been in the past,
hmm
and it really is fun to see that. You know, even I mean, she did a lot of warming up kind of before the story started, but even during the story, she is warming up as well.
yeah,
Slowly but steadily as the chapters go, and that's a treat to follow along with, I think.
indeed.
Yeah. So we talked about this before as well. Kaguya wants to celebrate Miyuki's birthday, or she thinks that Miyuki wants to celebrate his birthday alone with her. Or I mean, or I guess just the fact to start off with, she wants to celebrate his birthday.
Hmm.
That alone, I think, is very sweet. She even ordered a birthday cake for him. So that's super sweet. And then she, gets the idea that ooh, he wants to celebrate it alone with me, and she gets very excited over that. And then the volume just kind of ends.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I kind of want to see more of that.
Yeah, is this the first is this the closest we've gotten to a cliffhanger at the end of a volume so far? I think so.
Uh,
Like, obviously, it's not like a cliffhanger
no,
exactly,
I know.
but like
I think.
to leave it that open on something that specific. I don't think it's done this before at the end of a
I
volume.
agree. I agree. Yeah, I don't think it
But
has.
I guess it makes sense. We are getting more into the story now, so it makes sense
Hmm.
that there's things that we have reason to be more excited about, like things to look forward to. So so I guess in the next volume, I guess we can expect Miyuki's birthday to come around and see, whatever comes of that.
Right. I mean, I'm excited to see what
Yes.
how this is gonna fall apart for Kaguya. Just her plans always go awry. I feel like, but maybe it'll work out. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just about this chapter, the part where um, Shirogane is like, "Yeah, you probably don't even remember my birthday." She's like, "Yes, I do. I remember your birthday, your blood type, and your
Yeah.
weight of birth." Like, whoa, wow, she really did her research.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense. She does have a lot of resources, so she would be able to get that info, but did she really need to need to do that? Yeah.
When you're as crazy in love as she is, I guess.
Yeah, like she is madly in love with Miyuki. That's one part of it. But she also comes, obviously we talked about this, like, she comes from a background where, you know, love isn't necessarily something that's talked about. And
Hmm.
I feel like it makes sense for her to not handle it or not deal with it like
True.
any other quote unquote normal person would, because she doesn't know what it's supposed to be like. So I think
Like the
she has
like we learned in volume 4, like she was kind of saying
right,
while she
and
was
she
sick.
has this curiosity about him, like anyone. Like when you're crushing super hard on someone, you're curious about them. You want to know things about
You
them.
Facebook stalk them and you do things.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I guess it does make sense for her to take that extra step into looking up his weight at birth. As weird as it might sound. But yeah, do you have anything more on romance?
um, Not really. I wrote down just briefly that Kashiwaki and her boyfriend are supposedly really making some real advancements in their
Yeah.
relationship. So that I guess
Yes.
that's romantic in that way. Very steamy.
Mm,
But besides that, no. I mean, I think we covered everything.
I think so.
I guess I'll just say that the cover for this volume is great. I mean, this is the first time Miyuki's been on the cover,
Yeah.
and I think it encapsulates the climax of this volume. And when they're in the taxi watching the fireworks and she can't take her eyes off him. I
Yeah.
love that. I'm so glad that that's the volume cover.
Yeah, it's great.
Shiragane's got this look. He's acting all cool, whatever, man.
Yeah.
If they took this picture together, and he's looking back afterward, he's like, "Oh man, oh kill me, oh I shouldn't, oh gosh, looks like such a dork, oh
But he does look pretty like tense as well.
yeah, true. He's sweating, yeah,
Yeah, he is sweating, and he definitely isn't like completely relaxed there. uh, but yeah, with this fifth volume, James is now caught up to where he knew stuff.
yeah,
Since you've seen the first season of the anime, that's all you knew beforehand,
mm-hmm.
and well now you are completely unspoiled for the future.
Uncharted territory. I think I might have said this before, but there are a couple things I know from season 2 One was I saw a clip of Ishigami in like a relay race or something, but I
Hmm.
clicked away from it because like no, I don't want to be spoiled. So
Right.
only saw it somewhat briefly, and then I saw the scene where Chika was teaching Miyuki how to sing. So I saw that already. But we've already read
Which was
that.
already in the first 5 volumes anyway. So
Right.
so
So
it does you don't basically you don't know anything crucial, anything in
right.
context
I guess,
at
I guess
all.
it was yeah. I was just saying those are the two little things that I only know, and besides there being a new character, I mean it's kind of hard to hide from that. People making the profile pic and whatnot, but better.
Guilty as charged.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited to see what Akasaka has in store for me in these next few volumes. I mean, oh
Yes.
man, I
Yeah, and
have
like
desires and they better be fulfilled.
I hope they will be, and I'm excited for this as well to get into for you to not know what's coming at all. Basically, is something that I'm very excited for as well because it's just fun to talk about these things with you and sort of relive the story through your reactions to it and stuff like that. I've been having a lot of
Hmm.
fun with that, and obviously real quick, I will not get caught up to where I was at until we get to volume 16 because that's as far as I read. But I don't read it anymore because I want to get unspoiled as soon as possible, just like James. But eventually we'll be on the same page. And last question before we end the episode: have you changed sides on who you root for to confess their love first?
Hmm. I think I said this before as well, but no. But I understand why people would want Kaguya to be the one to confess first because of her background and her sheltered life. Her taking the initiative would not only be her overcoming her pride, but also maybe overcoming her family situation and the rules they have set. So I
Mm-hmm.
understand that, but at the same time, I think Miyuki being the one to confess not only would overcome his pride, but also help Kaguya just maybe find a way to get out of her situation. Maybe that would help her get out. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think there's benefits to being confessed to or being the one to confess, and I haven't found enough reason to switch sides yet. So
Fair
I'm
enough.
still I'm still on Team Kaguya at this point.
Gotcha. And with this volume, we can both of us can safely say that Kaguya Shinomiya is our favorite character at this point in the story.
Yeah, I mean, she was the MVP for me, and I adore her. She's awesome.
Absolutely, 100%. I couldn't agree more. So yeah, that's all that was for Volume 5. Thank you to anyone who listened. You can find James's stuff outside of this channel on Intensity on YouTube, where he covers video game topics, talks about video games, news, and speculations on different things. And you can find me on YouTube and SoundCloud as Leon Morris, where I share all of the music that I produce. Thanks once again for listening, and we'll see you next time, where we will talk about Volume 6. Bye bye.
See you later.